So where do we start today? We were seeing a movie yesterday called What the Bleep, something like that, you know. What the bleep do we know? I don't know what bleep means, but somewhere one of those speakers substitutes a word for it, which is typically Western. What the heck do we know? So, I mean, if he can say it, I can say it, no? There's nothing obscene about it. What the heck do we know? And science claims that scientists know everything. Philosophers in their own way claim that they know a great deal. Mystics appear sometimes like beggars. Sometimes they are there and not there. And they speak little about themselves. Many of them are shy, reserved. But they have extraordinary powers. That raises the question whether knowledge and power are two different things, or whether, as we believe Western science says, science gives knowledge. If that was true, then there would be no mysticism. There would be no saints, no rishis. So there is this old question, you know, whether the egg came first or the chicken. Whether it was the seed or the tree. Somebody once laughingly asked Babuji, what is your opinion of this question? Was it the seed that God created, or was it the tree which came first? Babuji said, God is not a fool to carry a tree around with him. Hundreds of trees, thousands of trees, and plant them wherever he went. When he could create tiny seeds and carry 1 million of them in his pocket. So when we call God an intelligent being, which the West does, Christianity does, we should have assumed that they would know the answer to this question. In fact, it's so self-apparent, self-evident, that such a question should never have been asked. But they asked and we answered. Babuji Maharaj answered it. God is not a fool to create a tree and carry it around with him. That is almost like this French comic, you know, Asterix, who carries heavy stones on his back and who decides he is going to discover Gaul and discovers Gaul. That is the French brand of intelligence. They know what they are going to discover, which presupposes foolishness, because we know something only after it has been discovered. But Asterix is a big sale, big selling thing, you know. Some people consider it art, some people consider it literature, and so on and so forth. And then we have Mighty Mouse, Mighty Man, all these comics. And all these reflect, in some way, the desire of the human being to master his environment. You know, when we talk of this fellow in Asterix carrying a huge, what do they call it? Obelisk. Manier. Manier, yes. We assume that there will be human beings who can carry 200 tons of load on their back. So it is a human aspiration to want to be great, to be powerful, to be strong. All the stories in our mythology, in the scriptures, like the jawbone of an ass, you know, or the slingshot with which David killed Goliath. All these are aimed either towards human strength, human well-being, human supremacy, or translated into a mild person, meek person, small, simple person, who has the might of the Lord in himself, as David is supposed to have had. And when Goliath came, just like that, you know, He hit him on the forehead and that man was dead. Goliath, huge fellow. Same with the jawbone of the ass, same with the lion. So either we have physical supremacy or we have the supremacy which is bestowed on a human being by God indwelling in him. He is bestowed, or he has been bestowed with the power of the Lord. O God of Israel, they say, again and again in the Bible. So we can choose one or the other according to both science and religion. Either you can be a man of religion, but there again you have to be such a person who has forgotten himself, who doesn't live for himself anymore, who has surrendered himself unto the mighty Lord. And then the Lord sort of gets into him, He is possessed, not by some evil spirit, but by God himself. And then we have the might of the spiritual person going against even the temporal power of the greatest monarchs of those times, whether it was Herod, whether it was Caesar. The same thing we see in our Hindu tradition also, Hindu religion. Tiny Prahlad and his father, a Rakshasa emperor. A mere human being, a pair of them, Rama and Lakshmana, and another Ravana, emperor, with all the powers he could command, including the power of blessings bestowed on him through tapasya, when the Lord appeared and said, I grant you. But when they asked, they made mistakes. Prahlada's father, Hiranyakashipu, is supposed to have said, I shall not be killed inside or outside. I shall not be killed on earth or in air, not by a solid or a liquid, not by day or by night, not by man nor animal, etc. And the Lord made it possible for the man lion to appear, himself to appear as a man lion, which is neither man nor animal. He killed him at dusk, when it was neither day nor night. He killed him sitting on the doorstep, which was neither inside nor outside. He killed him on his lap, which was neither on earth nor in the sky, and so on, So nothing we can think of can provide for what God can do. Similarly, Ravana is supposed to have said, I shall not be killed by Devas or Asuras, and like this. But he thought of Nara and Vanara, meaning man and monkey, as so cheap and so mean, below his dignity to even think of them. He omitted from his prayer that I shall not be killed by man or by monkey. And they killed him. So these traditions are there, mighty world. He was supposed to be a Vedavit, a lawyer of the Vedas. Yet his knowledge did not help him. So there you find a sort of, coming together of knowledge and faith, bhakti. Knowledge is useless. He knew everything. He had no faith, but he had the greatest powers of the earth. Did not stop him from being destroyed. Hiranyakashipu, all the powers you could ask for. But when his son said, you must pray to Narayan, you must fall at his, he tried to kill his son so many times. Failure. He had him thrown into the sea from a mountain top. The Lord received him in his hands. He had to be, stamped upon by a rogue elephant which was in the palace. The elephant just lifted his trumpet, blew and walked away. So that faith protects you. My master will protect me. Do we have that faith? Or is it just a mental construct that we have, that given the opportunity, he will faith? He will prove his faith. But we don't want to give him the opportunity. I know somebody who was here in Madras who developed some heart problem and who stopped giving sittings, saying the doctor had said, you have a bad heart, you should not give sittings, you should not meditate. And Babuji said, look here. He knows I am there to protect him. but he has no faith. And supposing he should die while meditating, can there be a better death for a man? People meditate to die, and he is afraid of meditation because he will die. Whereas if he died during meditation, he will go straight to the goal. See, such are the fears of the human being, that we are supposed to have faith. We say we have faith, but we have no faith in our hearts. We have strength, but we are not able to use it because we are afraid that the opponent has better strength than ourselves. And against God, nothing can prevail. So we are living, in a sort of seesaw world where this is neither true nor that. Sometimes this, sometimes that. And we are caught between, in a sense, science and spirituality. Now, modern world, in today's world theater, we can call it, there are debates on science and spirituality. Is there something called science? Well established for centuries now. Starting from, the Renaissance. Science has been accepted. Originally, it was a superstition. In those days, I suppose they had science and superstition. Is it true that gunpowder can? Yes, test it. So anything you can test was therefore proven. And science demands that it be proved not once, but repeatedly by anybody who does that experiment. That is the problem with science. I see God, but I don't see him. Oh, he's sitting in that chair, but I don't see him. There must be reproducibility of test results by anybody and everybody. So this sort of war has been going on, But now there is more and more evidence which is to a greater extent accepted even by the so-called scientists. And this picture, this production, what the belief do we know, which deals with the quantum world, quantum physics, is all about that. There are some very beautiful episodes there, How a thing can be in two places, how a thing can be in several places. You see that boy, bouncing a ball off the floor, a big ball. And when that lady who's watching turns her eyes around, there are innumerable balls bouncing around. And they say this is the quantum world, that is the quantum reality. It can be anywhere, everywhere. But when we attend, we fix by our attention the thing in one spot. Now, as I was talking to some of my friends here today, this morning, I noticed one thing about this, that in the quantum field, things appear to be everywhere or can be everywhere. But attention fixes it at one spot. The idea came to me that God is everywhere. When I attend, I fix him also where I want him to be. But there the quantum field is disturbed and becomes the field of observable reality. And everything seems to coalesce into that one that I see. Whereas God is everywhere all the time. Only thing I can see him where I wish, if I have the faith and if I have the ability to fix him there. This is one reason why in Sahaj Marg, my master Babaji Maharaj taught us that it is not necessary to go to any particular place to find God, such as a temple or a church or a synagogue. If he is everywhere, as all religions claim, omnipresent, why on earth should I have to go somewhere to find him? I don't know about the other religions descended through the Judaic branch, Judaism, Islam, Christianity. But Hinduism very definitely says God is at the heart of every created being. He is not just everywhere, he is at the heart of every created being. And if that is so, that provides us with a very excellent, wonderful, irrefutable argument for meditation. Instead of looking out, I now look within. A child, looks for its mother inside the house. And it knows where to find her. It goes to the kitchen. If she's not there, the child is a little upset. Where is mom? Where is mom? She is in the bedroom resting. Always inside. It is men who go out seeking. Let us go to the temple. Let us pray. And as Babuji Maharaj said again and again, if he is everywhere, he is at home. I do not deny that he is in the temple too. But if he is here, why should I go to the temple to find him when I can find him here? Right here, inside myself, as my master, the one who is governing my life, who is driving my life, the chariot of my life in the right direction to its destination, with himself as the driver. Babuji asked again and again, can there be any better deal for humanity? No answer. Somebody says, but Babuji, we have been traditionally trained that God is in the temple. Babuji said, look here, I am not denying that. I am not denying He is everywhere. But I am only asking when He is here, why do you have to go out? Here you can definitely see Him if you close your eyes and look inward with a little training. What is the training? To first exclude all thoughts of where God is. Because if you see your mother in the kitchen and ask, is this my real mother or is it something else? Am I being sort of cheated, beguiled, misled? And he pulls the sari of his mother and says, Mummy, Mummy, are you my real mummy? He will get spanked. We don't ask of God, are you the real God? In the Hebrew religion, in the 10 Commandments of Moses, you get a very definite injunction. Thou shalt worship no other God but me. I have often thought, why God had to say no other God? Does it mean God himself says, my son, there are many gods, but I am your God. I am the Almighty Lord. I am the master of the Israelites. Thou shalt worship no other God but me. I mean, I cannot understand a God saying you shall not go to any other God. And they say God is jealous of what? It means there are other gods to whom I can pray and God is jealous. This is very much like a wife saying you shall not look at another woman. As Jagjit Singh says in one of his ghazals, having looked at me, you shall look at none other. उनको ये शिकायत, not शिकायत, something he says, मुझको देख के और किसी को न देख. Having seen me, see nobody else. Jealousy is a matter of, selfishness, fear of losing a devotee. After all, when a woman is jealous, what is she jealous about? That her man may go somewhere else. So can God be jealous? Can God have a chosen people? To this extent that he tells Moses, clear the land of everybody else. Destruction. Can God preach destruction when you say God is love? But that God seems to be only jealous. He doesn't seem to love. He seems to protect. Protect what? Those who pray to him, worship to him. Why? Because he is the only God they are allowed to pray to. So you see, the concept of God in religion is different. You have from the primitive nature worshippers, spirit worshippers, who worship trees, who worship stones, who worship thunder, lightning, nature worship. And then you have this coalescence of, the idea that behind this there is a power. And then you come to God who creates, who destroys, who preserves, as in Hinduism. And then you find the grand finale, the culmination of a God who himself created these subsidiary caretakers of nature, as Babuji calls them. The destroyer, the creator, and the preserver. Like we have in civil governments, those departments which are responsible for creation, like, the agriculture minister, those who are there for preservation, law and order, police, and those who are for destruction, like the judges, the courts, the gallows. It is clear, you see, that we have transposed human levels of understanding and governance to the upper level of divine hierarchies and created God in our image. As someone said, God did not create us God did not create us in His image. We have created God in our image. And we have the supreme arrogance of thinking that God must be anthropomorphic. He must have 2 arms. Then you go on to think of a more powerful God. He has 4 arms and 2 legs. Then you have an even more powerful goddess with 10 arms and 2 legs. Why only 2 legs? Why not 6 legs? Because she won't be able to balance, I suppose. She would have trouble in deciding which leg to move forward, which leg to move backward. There has been this famous question, how does a centipede know which leg to move next? Nobody has been able to figure it out yet. So we have all these problems with religion, which rid us progressively of our faith. So one religion goes smashing up another religion. If you can do nothing else, kill those devotees. We have seen this in the War of the Crusades, the Christians and the Muslims. Even today in Yugoslavia, it was ethnic between the Serbs and the Muslims. And I don't think it's ever going to end as long as we have different gods, but claim there's only one God and He is my God. He cannot be yours because you belong to a different religion. Is it sensible? Is it not foolish? I often wondered why the religious leaders of this world, like the Pope, Dalai Lama, the High Priest of Judaism, they get together and decide, friends, there is only one God, we are all agreed upon it. Why not we agree that the same God is our God and not just my God and your God? Because priesthood prevails, grows, multiplies itself, and maintains its supremacy by demanding money to propitiate the gods. You have done a sin, offer this. You see it right from the Bible, where Abraham is even asked to sacrifice his son. Of course, mercifully, the burning bush says, no, it is enough. I have tested your faith. But they won't go away without at least your best loved kid. Thou shalt sacrifice. And when the plague overtook Egypt, for the Egyptians, every house had to be marked with blood. Every house of every Jew. So that God would recognize, you see, these are my devotees. What is to be said about a God who doesn't know his devotees unless they are marked like packages for delivery? Anyway, that is all besides the point, you see. When they talk of science and spirituality now, science tries to, sort of kick out all these things, the trammels, unnecessary foolishness, superstition, stupidity of religion, come to the essence, but they are not able to come to the essence because although quantum science believes in things you cannot see, things you cannot look at, things you cannot feel, they will not believe similarity with religion, that here also these things exist. That God does not exist just because I can't see Him is an unfortunate tenet of science. It's a lie. So this movie that we saw yesterday was very refreshing. I've seen it so many times earlier. It's a fascinating thing, That, for instance, the best lesson in it is by imagining yourself, you can change yourself. When you say, oh, I am a sinner, I am a sinner, I am a sinner, you make yourself more and more a sinner than you ever were. Babuji said very beautifully, you see, that there is no sin except your own idea that you are a sinner. There is no sin. In nature, there is no virtue, there is no sin. God created the universe where something kills something and eats it, where something rides on something, where something subdues something. It is nature, it's natural law. Until man came on the scene, until human beings came on the scene. How are they different? God gave them intelligence and will. He said, now thou shalt not. But the same God in one religion says, go forth and multiply. I give you command over all things in this world. You shall eat the birds and the beasts and everything that crawls. The same God who created life in one form gives life in another form, total over this. And he says, you breed sheep so that you can go on sacrificing the kid to me. Hinduism says, you shall not take life. Thou shalt not kill applies also to animals and birds. It is too, trite and too simple an understanding to say God meant human beings when he said, thou shalt not kill. Isn't it? But my religion says like that. I can kill. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife or his good neighbor's goods. I remember how much I had to laugh when one boy in America came to me and said, Chari, what is a neighbor? I said, why do you ask? He said, I love the girl next door to my house. I said, what about the left? He wanted to know. Can I covet her? I said, both are neighbors. He said, what about across the street? Is she a neighbor too? I said, yes. I said, even the one in the next parallel street is your neighbor. In essence, neighbor means anybody who is living on this planet with you. They're all your neighbors. Therefore, they're all your brothers and sisters. Sahaj Marg says precisely the same thing. We are all brothers and sisters. Quantum physics says, whatever you may appear to be, you are this. You are particles floating around in the quantum field, which by some act of imagination or thought has coalesced into the form that you see. And you think, this is me. That is the first mistake. You have isolated yourself willfully because you are using your will by thinking, I am. The moment you say, I am, you are this and the rest is that. So the human beings suffer from a sort of isolation of themselves from the rest of this vast universe by two concepts, I and mine. Because when I am there, I have something which I call mine. This is my house, my chair, my wife, my food, my kitchen, my car. Therefore, it is nobody else's. So the feeling of self-consciousness, the feeling of having possessions, two things separate us from the rest of God's creation, and we suffer consequently. Now the idea of sacrifice, giving up, renunciation, is just meant to get rid of this isolation that we have imposed upon ourselves and we are suffering therefrom. When Jesus says, sell all that you have and give it to the poor and follow me, it is the call of the divine, saying, these are the things which are holding you down and keeping you away from me. No, my Lord, I cannot come. Who will look after my house? Who will look after my wife? I have to fish every day to feed her. Who will look after my children? And who will look after the nets if I am not here, with which we fish? God says, remain and enjoy what we have to the extent that you have it. So possession robs us of greater possessions in a non-material, divine, spiritual world. Therefore, he says, I think in one of these, what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world but lose his own soul? See, this truth you find everywhere. In Hinduism, it is a well-known thing, well-known practice. Not a coveted or taught practice, but something which we are supposed to follow naturally. What Hinduism teaches is, as Babaji emphasized, the 4 stages of life. The stage of the youth, the stage of the married householder, and then the stage of the man who renounces and goes into the forest, achieving vanaprastha, as we say it. Life in the jungle, taking his wife with him, both meditating, looking towards a goal other than the world of the matter. It is implicit in our human life, not something, that you have to listen to from a religious God who sits on top of Mount Sinai or somewhere and who threatens us. If you don't do this, one of the first things I asked Babaji was, why do you call these 10 commandments? Originally the 10 maxims were called 10 commandments of Sahaj Marg. He said, why do you ask? I said, Babaji, there's one difference between the 10 commandments of Christianity and our 10 commandments. First thing people say is, why Sahaj Marg has 10 commandments? Are you trying to ape the Christian religion? Second thing is, our 10 commandments tell you what to do. Christianity tells you what you should not do. Like this question about who is the neighbor. God should have been explicit. But they only say, thou shalt not kill. Kill what? What about my enemy? Or suppose I am jealous of my friend. God has no answer. Ours are explicit. You get up before dawn, bearing in mind the cleanliness of body and mind. You shall meditate in a chosen place, again and again, every day, at the same time. Things like that, you see. Anything that you put before you with love, you shall eat. You see, ours are all positive. What you should do. When you say, suppose I am asking you how to go to Mylapore. When you come to the gate, don't turn right. When you come to the main road, don't turn left. The man is bewildered. I want to go by bus. Don't take 5A, 5B, 7C, 8C and all that. You tell the child who is going for examination, don't fail. You tell the girl who is going to school for the examination, don't be late. She wants to go for her first party, don't come after 9 p.m. And suppose she doesn't come at all and runs away. Mommy, you only told me don't come after 9 p.m. You see? Babaji said, do. Otherwise, it's like a doctor's prescription. Which are the medicines I must not take? In the morning, don't take these things. In lunchtime, don't take these before your meal. At night time, don't take these before your dinner. Wonderful. How much fees should I pay? Don't pay me 100 rupees. You follow? So the wisdom of Sahaj Marg, the wisdom of my masters, positive teaching. One great teaching Babaji gave me was, if there is a sin in Sahaj Marg, because we have no idea of sin and virtue, vice and virtue, if at all there is a sin, it is of ingratitude. To anybody. If a friend gives you something, you must be grateful. If your wife gives you something, you must be grateful. And to the master, you must always have gratitude. No, what did he give? I was already born, prepared for spirituality. Oh, how do you know? No, I'm telling you, see, these fellows, like this. Ingratitude, in Caesar, what does he say? When Brutus stabs Caesar, he says, ingratitude more than traitor's arms vanquished him. Et tu, Brute, he said, then fall Caesar. Basically, we recognize, you see, that gratitude is an expression of faith, of love, of humility. Now when you give to a great man, you say, suppose some minister comes and you present him a check for 10 lakhs. He says, this is all you could afford. You live in a big estate. He is not humble. He is not thankful. Because he is a grabber, and he wants more. The more you give him, the more he wants. Like in one movie we saw, the Romans asked, it was about Rome and the Nazi occupation of Rome. He asked for the Jews, He says, I will guarantee that there will be no concentration camp. You will not be shot. You will not this. Provided you give me 1 million lira and 100 pounds in gold. And that chief of the Jews asked, but Lord, how can I give 100 pounds of gold in no time at all? He gives them 36 hours. Can you not give me a little extension in time? He says, 36 hours starting now. And they managed to, collect it, one pin from here, one nose ring from there, one piece of gold from there. And he brings his 100 pounds. Then he asked, one of his minions asked the colonel, sir, you should have asked him for more. He says, if I had asked him for more, it is like killing the goose that lays the golden egg. Now I know they have gold. Now I will turn the screw. It's like a carpenter's wisdom, that you don't turn the screw too much, otherwise you split the wood. So when he can give, suppose you are given 5 rupees, you would have been satisfied with 25. You see it with rickshawalas, this greed, But God is not greedy. So when somebody asks Babuji Maharaj, what should I give you? Of course, in the quiet of the night when we were together, he said, you can give nothing to God. Because everything you have, even your life, is given by Him. Whatever you give, you are only giving Him from what He has given you. Even if you give Him all that you have, it is still giving Him what He has given you. Then I said, what is the idea of offering something to? He said, it is foolish. God does not want your offerings. God wants a very small thing from you, which is also what the master wants. I said, what is it? He said, something only this big, no more than a fist, the heart. Now, everybody in this world knows that the biggest difficulty is in giving the heart, the greatest difficulty. It's almost impossible to give your heart to anybody else. Even so-called, divine lovers, they say, no, please don't ask for my heart. I am already heartbroken. Yes, but you are heartbroken because you tried to give not your heart, but something you thought is your heart. So Babuji said, this is the thing that can be offered to God or to your master, spiritual master. Because this is the thing, he didn't say that, but he implied, it is the thing which nobody will really give. And he said, when such a person comes who lays his heart at the feet of the Guru, he is no more a bhakta, he is no more a devotee, he is no more a abhyasi, he becomes the beloved of God. So you see the secret of the heart, that which we will give no one, not even to God, but hold on tightly all our lives. When I was in Bengal, I found something. They are Hindus, and when a person dies and they go to cremate the body, everything burns. The heart will not burn. Finally, they wrap it in wet clay and throw it into the Ganga. It is like, melting gold. Ordinary temperatures will not melt. So ordinary funeral will not melt the heart. It is such a valuable thing that even fire cannot destroy it. I have seen myself on several occasions. So God does not want something you have acquired, which is really not yours, but given by Him. He doesn't want your best sari or your best Armani suit. God, I offer you my suit. He says, what will I do with it? I have no form on which I can clothe this. I give you my diamond ring, 7 carats, De Beers diamond. I created it. It's a bit of rock. My heart, yes, because it is your most prized possession. So Hinduism says you must give that which you value most. You know, we have a tradition that when you go to the Ganga in Benares, you are supposed to give up something which you like. So most of them go, you know, and they give up, for instance, what it is called, bitter gourd, which nobody likes, or brinjal, which many people don't like. And they come back self-satisfied. I've given up. But you say, but you don't like it. You are supposed to give up something you like potatoes, which you love. No, no, you say, then how will I live, you know? God doesn't mind. So we rationalize over our attempts to cheat God. We throw in copper, thinking God will think it is gold. There's a beautiful story about a town, you know, which had no rain for so many years that even the temple tank went dry. Severe water shortage. So one wise man came and everybody rushed to him and said, how to get water here, you see. He said, it's very simple. Each one of you at night, when nobody is looking, go and drop a cup of milk into that tank. And by morning, you will find it full of crystal water. So every house sent somebody with a cup. And everybody thought, who's going to look if I put in a cup of water among so many cups of milk, you know, and all put water. Morning, of course, there was crystal clear water filling the tank. Which can be said that when God wants, He can fill it by making you fill it yourself. Isn't it? So even when we try to cheat, God is merciful. With your cup of water, He filled the tank. And behold, with 2 loaves and 5 fishes, God filled the multitude. You understand? So this quantum business puts the onus for our self-development on us, not on teaching, not on assistance, not on efforts to train yourself in some ways like the Carnegie and Mellon Institutes and things like that, but by imagination saying, this I am. And you imagine yourself more and more, you become that. All the mysticism and the great mystics of the world have said, that upon which you meditate, you shall become. The same truth stated in mysticism, the same truth now stated by quantum physics. And Babuji said, avoid negative thoughts. No, Babuji, I'm a failure. He said, stop thinking like that. From tomorrow you will be successful. No, but how can I become successful, Babuji? I've tried so many years and I've always failed. I'm afraid to try again. Set aside fear. Fear is our greatest enemy. Because when we go on the street, you are afraid, you project your fear. If there's a dog and you are afraid of it, it receives your fear, it becomes afraid. You walk serenely as if you own that street, nothing on earth can stop you. Because in God's eyes, you do own it because it is part of the earth, not part of Madras or London or Tibet. If you create this difference, I'm in a foreign land, I may be attacked. The very thought that I may be attacked, in a certain sense, quantum sense, creates attackers. Of course, scientists will say, do you mean to say, Chari, they were waiting for you to call them? No answer. Quantum physics says, think of a dog. In some way, all the particles will coalesce into a dog. So you see this movie, What the Bleep Do We Know, is a very interesting and a very telling movie because it is able to educate us in the same way as Babuji Maharaj said. Only thing it says it in different terms. Babuji said, sit down, close your eyes, avoid all unnecessary thoughts. What are unnecessary thoughts? Every thought except the one which I must have. And what is the thought I must have? That I am proceeding towards the goal. I remarked on an earlier occasion that meditation must have dynamism behind it. Dynamism is the purpose. And what is the purpose of my meditation? To reach my goal. If I ignore the goal or if I forget it, I will be like children who go up and down in elevators, for fun. Press this button, go up, press that button, come down, keep doing it, ha ha ha, you are smiling. That is Kinderspiel, child's play. It has no purpose, it has no meaning, except for half a dozen children to do what they should not be doing and laugh at themselves for enjoying, which is no enjoyment. Purposeful, I am going towards my goal. All other thoughts have been excluded. I am having only this thought. And ergo, maybe even after 1 minute, because Babuji said, if you are meditating in the right way, you just have to turn your head from here to here, and you are there. When we want to look east, we turn the head here. When we want to look west, we turn the head here. It takes only the movement of your head to go to infinity in the east and to infinity in the west. Why not infinity there? Though it is not really there. Therefore, we don't look up, but we look here, where the true infinity resides, because it is said in all mystic lore, literature, that within the heart, there is a universe much vaster than this universe of which you know. In fact, it can contain many, many more universes than all universes in the known universes. Such is the vastness of the heart. And yet, God resides there, perhaps because it is vaster than the universe He created in the material plane. And He resides as a tiny atomic flame. That is how it is described. Anoraniya. Ano, you see, smaller than the atom. Mahato Mahiya, bigger than the biggest. God's description is smaller than the smallest, larger than the largest. Of course, in between, everywhere, at all times. Why is He in this atomic? Because that is how He has created the universe from a tiny speck of non-matter, which is called, what is it called in science? No, a dimensionless. Dimensionless what? Anybody? Huh? No, antimatter is something else. It is, even I have forgotten. Krishna, what is it called? The thing from which Big Bang erupted?
Singularity.
Singularity. Why is it called a singularity? Because it is singular. When you say no, it was a singular phenomenon, never before seen, never afterwards possible to be seen. Dimensionless, almost does not exist. Does it exist? Nobody can say. Does it not exist? We cannot also say. Description of God given by Babuji in the Vedas also. No one, neither can you say He exists, nor can you say He does not exist. In the Nasadiya Sukta, of which Babuji used to say, no sadasit, nasadasit. Of God, you cannot say He exists. You also cannot say He does not exist. To the Westerner, it would be at least a conundrum, at most the height of stupidity and ignorance. How can something be either? It has to be either or no. All the Western science is either or, like computers. Yes, no, with a stroke in between. The whole world is divided into Y stroke N. Here, it can be, it may not be. What does it depend upon? My faith. If I say He is, He is. If I say He doesn't, to me He is not. So, atheist is only permitted to say, to me, my dear, He does not exist. It's like a bachelor, a confirmed bachelor who will never marry. He cannot say wives don't exist. He can say, I say my wife doesn't exist because I have never married. As an atheist, I don't believe in God, so for me, God doesn't exist. He may exist for you. That is the right approach. Then one day he has the opportunity of saying, for me too, no God exists. But when he says God does not exist with a finality, a decision that he doesn't exist at all for anybody, he makes the biggest mistake of his life, and he condemns himself to a godless existence and suffers the consequences thereof.